Hi, and welcome to my biology research presentation, Herbicides versus Honeybees. In this, I'll be discussing both the benefits and uses of herbicides and pesticides, but also the potential repercussions that their use can have on honeybee health. So, let's get into it. Some of the top uses for these herbicides in agricultural farming are improved quality and quantity of crops. It also helps protect against harmful insects that can damage the crops and unwanted diseases. And what this does on the consumer end is that it allows us as consumers to walk into the store, be able to pick out whatever crop we want and purchase it for a good affordable price because farmers were able to produce these crops for a more affordable price, which is great. But what's the catch? Well, the catch is honeybees. Let's talk about it. Over 5 billion pounds of herbicides and pesticides have been used and sprayed in the past 5 years. And over those past 5 years, honeybee populations have been declining rapidly. Seems like a funny correlation. What do they have to do with each other, anyways, and why do honeybees matter? Well, honeybees are our major pollinators. And what that means is that they go into these crops that these farmers are trying to produce and they help them reproduce and multiply by spreading the pollen around. And as part of that, they bring the excess pollen back to their hive. And it goes through lots of different processes and it goes from pollen to honey. And I don't know about you, but I love honey. And with this honey is the food and energy that these honeybees use to survive on. So, what effect do herbicides really have on honeybees? Well, the effect is severe cognitive impairment and sucrose sensitivity. So, what does that mean? It means that they can't remember where the good food is. And as far as sucrose sensitivity, that means their ability to be able to test good food from bad food. So, the sweeter the food, the more energy. So, that's the good food. And if they're not able to test or remember where good food is, then honeybees will starve. So, why does this matter? Well, it matters because without honeybees, our crops won't reproduce. People won't have food, and people will starve, which is a huge issue. So, what do we do? Well, it's not a cut and dry issue. We need these herbicides to protect our crops from diseases and pests, but we also need these honeybees to pollinate our crops so that they can reproduce and we can have food. So, what do we do about this? Well, I believe that these uses of herbicides and pesticides, they are vitally important to protect our crops. But also, honeybees are vital to the security of our future. So, research needs to be done to explore safer alternatives for honeybees that are just as effective in protecting these crops from these unwanted insects and diseases, and also find a way to safeguard the honeybees from interacting with these herbicides when their use is needed. Herbicides have a more detrimental effect on honeybee larvae than they do on the adult honeybees. A honeybee larvae are fed this honey directly by adult honeybees. And because they're in that smaller, weaker state, most of them die, which kills off the next generation. So we need to safeguard the honeybees to prevent that from happening, to bring their numbers back up so that they don't go extinct. And several ways of doing that, I believe, are possible with more research and dedicated people advocating for what's right to protect our future safety, food safety, and also to protect our honeybees. A solution is possible, and with hard work and dedication, I believe that we can get there and we can both protect our crops and our honeybees. Thank you for listening.